Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast, and welcome to the review show where we have a look back at everything that happened last week in boxing. Of course, last weekend that was Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Moses Itauma once again looking impressive. Subscribe for 2 podcasts every week, all that good stuff. Straight into the action. I'm wary to go straight to Ben here because he's grinning at me.
Just go straight to Ben.
Normally at this point in the podcast, he's still on his phone, not listening.
Well, it normally takes you about half hour to get through the intro.
Okay.
Shots fired.
Well, it's better than our intros anyway.
Our intros are the most awkward things going.
I've been telling you for how long? Like, since before he even had his pro debut, I reckon I've been saying he is...
Well, we know each other that long.
He's the main man.
Yeah.
And... yeah, obviously I weren't here last week for the preview pod.
Don't worry, we talked about you and your love for him.
I did say he was gonna go early. I don't think Dillian Whyte looked great. He didn't look great for the ring walk, and there was some talk that he had a slight injury, I think. But you can't take away from how good Moses Itauma was on Saturday. There's just levels to heavyweight boxing, and he is right at the pinnacle. I genuinely think there's only one man in that heavyweight division that could test him, and that's Usyk, and I don't think they should fight each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always agreed with you when you've said it. I just think we've always been wary that we haven't seen everything yet. Yeah. You know, if you're talking throwing punches, he's a 10 out of 10. You know, the being able to break down opponents, tactically break them down without getting caught himself, he's a good 8, 9 out of 10. Footwork, movement, again, 9 out of 10. But we said it, we just want to see him get cracked. I want to see
how he reacts.
Mega right hand flush on the chin, and if he doesn't hit the deck, then you go, this guy will be an all-time great. At the moment, I know this guy will win a world title, but I will need that final bit of confirmation. And you know what? I think if he was American, if he was Japanese, if he was Australian, I'd be saying, yeah, future all-time great. But because he's British and we do it too often, we get too excited, I'm just that little bit reserved. But then I listened to Andy Lee speaking about it. He said he's seen him cracked plenty of times in sparring and never look asked. And Andy Lee's the best of the best, so I'll take his word. But I just want to see it, man. Yeah.
My 2 arguments to that would be, though, one is, if you're good enough not to get hit, then why does he need to take one on? Like, you don't, if any high-level professional boxer not just going to go, I'm just going to let him fucking smack me one today. Just
they all will get cracked.
He will eventually. It will happen.
And we saw it with someone, I've said it before, I think I said it last week, someone like Amir Khan, where it's like he had the talent, but just as soon as he got caught with that one shot, you knew it was game. And if that is, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. They're not going to be putting all their eggs in the basket of a man who's that chinny. But
I don't think you get that good at 20 years of age without being able to take a shot either.
No,
at 16, he was beating up your best mate Lawrence Okoli, who was a world champion at the time.
Yeah.
At 16.
Well, when I interviewed Lawrence, he said he got an early night's sleep the night before because he knew he was sparring Moses at 15 after school. So
also,
he was like,
it gives me, obviously we were never there to see the height of Mike Tyson, but it gives me the exact same sort of feeling.
Yeah, I think the way 27, 28 professional rounds, 28 I think it is now.
Yeah,
for those who, I suppose, we haven't officially said it, he got a first round knockout in about 40 seconds. And he hurt him with one shot and then was able to just break down a really tight guard of a really tough man. Yeah. You have to say the way he's blasting people out there, and he's doing it in different ways, isn't he? You know, Dempsey McKean was a demolition job, quick, one shot. This was get him wobbled and finish the job.
And it was the composure he showed as well, because he cracked him with that first shot on the top of the head, which completely took his legs from underneath him. But he didn't just steam in it. He took that step back, realised nothing else was coming back at him, and he thought, right, I've got him where I want him now. I can let the shots go. And yeah, the way he finished him off, especially that last right hook, was a great shot. And against someone in Dillian Whyte, who I know is at the end, is probably the last fight of his career now, but we have seen over the years how tough he is. So to go in and do that, in the first round, where many other top heavyweights have gone nowhere near doing that against Dillian Whyte, I thought was really impressive.
Yeah. What do you think of him, Harry? Because I feel like we've just...
I was about to say, am I invisible yet? I am, yeah. Great performance, wasn't it, by him? I was sitting here this time last week and I was saying that I believe that Dillian Whyte is the man that can take Moses Itauma beyond the 6 rounds, take him to deep waters and actually test him. How wrong was I? I did not predict that. I didn't see that coming. Obviously, Dillian Whyte looked in really good shape coming into this fight. Looked like he took it seriously. Ben touched upon it. The ring walk, as soon as you saw him walking out to the ring, I think Dillian Whyte knew what he was walking into. In a sense, his sort of body language wasn't very positive. He looked like he had a knee injury or something like that. But it shouldn't take away from a great performance by Moses Itauma. And we talked a lot last week about that hype train. Someone's driving it on this podcast by year. We're in, like I said to you when we were driving back from our show on Saturday, I said, I am now in that first class section on that train. I am very big on Moses Itauma. And again, you're thinking Dillian Whyte was put in there on Saturday night to test him and give him the rounds, take him sort of further into the fight that not many fighters have done, land that big shot to test his chin. He hasn't been tested yet. He hasn't even broke a sweat, and he still hasn't lost a professional round as well, which is incredible. And, Frank Warren has got a really good stable of heavyweight boxers, if not the best in world boxing at the moment.
Well, he's got all of them. He's got.
Well, exactly. But I just look at Moses Itauma now, and I'm thinking to myself, this time next year, he's going to be a world champion. It's just a matter of when and who he fights.
I don't even think the Dillian Whyte fight was a thing of him being tested, though. I think Ben Davis and Frank Warren have gone, Dillian Whyte is a very recognised name in the sport. We know how good Moses Itauma is. We'll put him in there. He'll blast him out in a round, and people will start speaking about him like a and go, he's ready to fight.
Let's be real. 5% of people didn't know who Dempsey McKean was until he stepped in the ring with Moses Itauma, and then they looked at the record and they went, oh, okay, on paper he looks good, but they don't actually know how good Dempsey McKean is. People have seen enough of Dillian Whyte to know what level he's at.
There were some people saying that Dillian Whyte would beat him.
Knock him out.
There was a small amount, in all fairness, but there were people saying, oh, he's a hype job. Dillian Whyte's going to show him what a tough fighter, I don't get it. I don't understand how people can't look at Moses Itauma and not realise he is going to finish his career with the best heavyweight resume from any British fighter ever.
It's a big call. I like it.
That
I like
be
it.
a clip on our TikTok channel.
I guarantee you, he will eclipse every other British heavyweight.
Well, are you suggesting that maybe there's a British heavyweight recently that doesn't have as good a record as people suggest?
Well, I've already put that out there, but not to go in on Tyson Fury, but the video he put out afterwards, and he was like, Moses Itauma will beat all these old heavyweights now. Yeah, including you, that you didn't want to mention. He beats Joshua. He could possibly beat Usyk, and he definitely beats you.
I think, in all fairness to Tyson Fury as well, when he was asked about fighting Moses Itauma a couple of years back, he was like, no way, I'm not fighting that kid. That kid can beat me. And
he knows how good he is. And this version of Moses Itauma would beat any version of Tyson Fury in history.
Woohoo, I like it.
I honestly think he'd beat any version of Anthony Joshua.
Or a farm. He's going for the views. But no,
look at the names now though that he can face.
That's what I was going to do. I think what we can do, we can put some names forward, talk about them, and then make our best pick. So the names that people are talking about for him to fight: Joseph Parker.
Yes.
That's the WBO mandatory or the WBO interim and the WBO #1 challenger in the form of Moses Itauma going into that fight. Why yes, why no?
No, because he deserves his world title shot against Usyk. That is the fight that should happen.
That will never happen.
It should
Usyk
be.
and Parker will never happen for a world title.
It should be the fight that happens, and then Usyk more than likely I think will beat Parker, and then Usyk can retire. Then you get the belts fragmented.
Or is there a world where Usyk doesn't take the Parker fight and we get Parker and
Atoma
for the WBO flat out? That could be an option.
I'd rather see Parker and Kabayel get the WBO fight.
Is Kabayel number one WBC?
I know
he's number one with the WBC, yeah. That's the other one, Ajit Kabayel. We know the WBC do not like a paper champion. They're unlikely to strip Usyk at any point. So Kabayel will have to wait in the wings. If he doesn't get that fight, is it a chance for Atoma to come in and grab a mandatory spot?
The thing, he is good enough to fight them, I think, but I don't think there's a need to push him that quickly.
I thought you said he was the best ever.
Yeah.
He'd beat every version right now.
I generally think he does, but there's also a thing of he's only 20 years old. He's probably still got a minimum of a decade at the top of the sport.
He's got a decade till he reaches his peak.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like he's probably
It's silly that people are talking about his peak now at 20, which is crazy.
But
they can slow him down.
Like some fighters can peak at different. Like Mike Tyson peaked at probably his early 20s, and then fell off. But like he's a very much a different fighter, I think, to Moses Itauma. I think Atoma with his skill set will last the test of his career. But as much as like I do believe you can throw him in with any heavyweight that's out there at the moment, I just don't necessarily.
When you said,
yeah, and I don't necessarily
catch him out.
Yeah.
No, I honestly think he'd put a good only Usyk I think could test him.
See, I think Usyk beats him flat out.
Usyk's just on a different level. Ain't he?
I give Atoma a puncher's chance against Usyk. Currently, he hasn't seen enough. He hasn't been through enough. I think Usyk will have too many answers and too many questions for Atoma. I just don't think that makes sense.
I still feel like there's an opportunity to let him grow more before he gets a fight like that.
What is Atoma in the rankings now? Where is he? Is he
on BoxRec? He's like 19, but I don't think they've 19. Updated it yet. I think. Well, I know he's going into this fight. He was number 1 with the WBO. He was number 2 with the WBA. So realistically, he'll be 1-1.
Yeah.
You know, he'll be in and around the picture with the WBC and IBF. But I think.
What about a Filip Hrgovic?
Yeah. He's the one a lot of people have touted.
He's got a great chin, can take a good shot. But yeah, he could fight. Like I said to Ben downstairs as well. He lasted a minute? Was it the stoppage? 40 seconds? I don't know what the stoppage was.
It was 50 seconds from the start of the round.
Mental.
It was about 30 after that. He got caught with that good shot.
He didn't get a shot landed on him.
No.
November 22nd's coming up. Another big Riyadh season card. Get him out there again against. It won't be Filip Hrgovic because Filip Hrgovic is probably going to be rested up. Jermaine Franklin's another name. Zhilei Zhang. You know, I think that's a very marketable fight there for Moses Itauma. Big money in that as well for him. There's lots of names. Hopefully, you know, I think Turki Al-Sheikh said, didn't he, in the build-up to this fight, he would love to make Alexander Usyk Moses Itauma very soon, sooner rather than later, I think he said. I hope he doesn't go down that road because, like you said, I do think Usyk will beat Itauma. But there's all the heavyweights that we named. I give Usyk Itauma a big chance in that fight. And you look at a Parker, he deserves that Usyk fight, but he could be looking at it now. Usyk could be potentially fighting Tyson Fury in one of the greatest trilogies ever. Jesus. And then that belt gets vacated, and then Joseph Parker is then the full WBO world champion, and then Moses Itauma fights. There's so many ways now that Moses Itauma can pick up a world title. He can go there, he can go there, you know. And
do they possibly look at someone like F.A. Ajagba?
No.
Obviously got good standing with the IBF.
F.A. Ajagba goes the same way that happened on Saturday night. He gets through Ajagba quickly. No.
Andy Ruiz, I've heard people calling for.
No. And well, is he still injured?
I'd go for Jermaine Franklin, I would. Because Jermaine Franklin can take a shot, so I think he'd last a couple of more rounds.
But the skill is just not there.
No.
The problem is you need someone who can last a bit and can at least ask him a few questions. And I think Hrgovic could.
I think Hrgovic, you'd probably have to wait a bit long because Hrgovic was in a bit of a.
Yeah, and we'll get onto that a little bit. But
I'd love to see the next two be Hrgovic, then Joshua.
I don't know the Joshua Half.
I don't think it'd happen, but I think that would be like the passing of the torch.
I think if he gets through Hrgovic, you know, that's the fight that got Daniel Dubois a world title fight. Who's to say that can't be the fight that gets him?
Yeah,
that's the gatekeeper that he beats, and then he gets let loose. I really think they, like you say, they could let him loose on anyone right now, and I think it would be worth it. But they don't have to because he's got 10 years, so that they're moving him quick, or they're moving him lots of fights at the moment, get experience, get rounds, and it will get to a point when he wins a world title, and then they'll slow him down a bit, 1 or 2 fights a year, and that will give him that longevity for a 10, 12-year career of just sparking people out, probably.
I don't like talking about the guy's name. Jarrell Miller is another name.
He gives him rounds. He gives him rounds. It took Daniel Dubois 11.95 rounds to get Jarrell Miller out of there.
Yeah, but I think Atoma just drills him to the body and just slows him down and batters him.
Yeah, but he... Yeah, but
that's why I want to see it.
He'll be a good punching bag for probably 4 or 5 rounds.
But who doesn't?
That's why I think Hrgovic has got a granite chin.
And he does also have a serious hand on him.
He's one of the best heavyweights on the planet.
Ha ha.
Not Lawrence Okolie, you know that.
Well, let's not forget, you put Hrgovic above Moses. You didn't have Moses Itauma in your top 10.
On the podcast last week, were you saying that Adeleye was gonna?
No,
that was me.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah.
I was very high on Hrgovic. Last week.
And do you know what? Like, we'll get onto that fight, but there's a world where Hrgovic should be flat out on his arse. He let Adeleye back into that big time, but fortunately his chin let him out. But
just to mention Dillian Whyte as well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it'd probably be his last fight now.
I hope so.
Yeah, hopefully.
But
look at Derek Chisora ringside, a man that shared the ring with him on several occasions. I think it's twice or 3 times even. He looked gutted sat there ringside, seeing a guy that he's gone toe-to-toe with in some brilliant fights years ago, and he's just seen him get absolutely flatlined. And in a way now, Derek Chisora is probably thinking, I might be thinking about my career with these young guys coming up. I don't want to touch them. I want to just fight people that have been around as the same length of time I've been around. But I agree. I think Dillian Whyte, after that sort of performance on Saturday night, he hasn't got it in him anymore, I don't think. And it would be perfect if he can, he can go back home, reflect on this and go, you know what? I've had a good career. He's had a very good career. He's fought some of the biggest names in the heavyweight division that there is. Call it a day, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's what I
back it. I think it is time for him. And like you say, what a servant he's been.
Some of the best memories in heavyweight boxing, in British heavyweight boxing.
It's almost a shame he went out with so much respect in that Atoma fight. I would have just flip one last table for the culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, show us a bit.
Even in the face-off, he just did like a thumbs up.
Even stand up and pretend to flip it, so you get a few security guards on edge. Just have a bit more fun.
That might show where he's at mentally with his career.
But also, that walkout did look like a man. It was like heading to the gallows. He did not.
He knew what he was. He knew what he was in for.
But like Whyte, Chisora, they are the type of fighters that boxing needs to give so much credit to, because over the years, the amount of entertainment they have brought, when plenty of other fighters who like to run their mouth on social media have not stepped up to give fans what they want, despite what they tell people.
Yeah. Most of the time when Chisora and Whyte took a fight, people were like, Christ, why have they taken that? But they were just like, yeah. And I do genuinely believe that there was a part of Dillian Whyte that felt he could win that fight. If he could just get through those early rounds, he'd have been confident in saying, I can get to him. If I can survive that early onslaught, then the back end's my round.
Everyone said if he can survive the first 4 rounds, then he's in with a chance.
But I just don't...
not getting near it.
Exactly. He's too good.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
How long have we talked about Moses Itauma? Because I feel like this is the longest we've talked about one fight.
17, 18 minutes.
Incredible.
So, it could be longer. I think we've done more, maybe.
Have we all agreed on that Itauma fights Hrgovic next? He should...
Hrgovic or Jermaine Franklin, I'd go for.
I like the Hrgovic fight most for Atoma.
I think he'll go
Hrgovic is a name that's known as well, so if he
I think Zhang, the way that Kabayel dispatched him with ease and made him look minuscule, bullied him, I think Moses Itauma would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And to a greater degree.
Well, I mean, with the Zhang fight, I think you can get a bit of money. And
it's marketable.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need the money, does he?
Oh, Itauma don't care about that, does he?
Like, he'll get there.
Hrgovic is more marketable
he'll
coming off that win on Saturday.
He must have got a decent pay.
The other thing with the Zhang, they're both southpaws, aren't they? It would just be footwork would win that fight, and he would just...
And pace,
he would just out-footwork him and beat him to that lead hand every time, so... we'll have to see. Elsewhere on the card, like we said, actually we'll get onto the Hrgovic Adeleye fight a little bit after we talk about our only male world champion in Nick Ball. Done the job again, did what he had to do for the WBA, defending the belt against Sam Goodman. A lot of people saying it's a bit wide. I thought it was about right. I think it's just I think it was one of those where it was a close fight, but Goodman didn't pick up the rounds. He was just close in a few rounds.
Yeah.
And so the scorecard looks wider than it felt as a fight. It was a close fight, but he just didn't win the rounds. Nick Ball, again, just looks good, but never too good, because I think the height is always going to be a problem for him.
Such a good
and
fight.
despite that, he still just causes everyone problems.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. It's one of those ones where it was competitive, but Ball just done enough to neck every round. No, not even neck every round. He just done the cleaner work in the rounds. I thought he looked really good against someone in Goodman who was a very tidy fighter himself. But yeah, like you said, it's that height advantage. I think, if anything, when he the Vargas fight is probably the one where he struggled the most in there. That was because of the massive size disparity between the two of them.
Actually, you and Sam.
But like he is so good at getting in range as well. He's like you don't even notice it sometimes how he could be out of range of someone, and the way he like closes that distance and gets his shots away, he's so good at it. So he can cause a lot of issues on the inside with fighters. But yeah, still the only world champion.
Yeah,
it is mental to think that Nick Ball is the only British. On TikTok they're not happy with us saying that he's the British world champion. He's Scouse, not British.
British fighters are struggling at world level when you look at it. Really.
And Sam's, it's all Americans at the moment, ain't it? And
yeah. But then when you look in, I just think Nick Ball is probably the best in his division, I'd say. But he just hasn't had those other big world title fights. I'd love a unification fight against Angelo Leo.
Yeah.
I think the two of them are just two little sort of live wire, big punchers.
Bruce
exciting.
was looking at him as well.
Yeah, and I think people who look at Nick Ball and rub their hands together a bit and think he's small, he's a classic British, but he has got that bit about him, the variation of the shots to break down the high guard. Like you say, he's so quick, the footwork's quality. I think he causes so many people problems, and I really hope we get to see him on a big card against someone like Angelo Leo, or I'm trying to think of the other champions in that division.
He'd need like a very good counter puncher, wouldn't he? Probably to take away his skill set. But
when you look at the height difference with Ray Vargas fight, the way he was able to,
he's so quick, so explosive. Like, it's easier said than done, isn't it, to keep that off you consistently for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Louis Neri.
Yeah. Again, I think he probably beats Neri. And I will say this though, I've seen a lot of people getting overexcited in the comments section. We've had it on one of a YouTube short that we made. He doesn't cause Inoue any problems, does he? Let's be real. No. He does not.
Inoue is that level, and
he does not cause Inoue any problems.
Talking about Inoue, he is fighting in a couple of weeks, ain't he? Akhmadaliev, ain't he?
Yeah,
there's been no promotion
Akhmadaliev, and then Nakatani.
They always just leave it
is
week
moving
off,
up,
which is so mental. But
that's the dream. We get the Nakatani fight at super bantam, and then he moves up to featherweight. Chin's our last world champion, and then
buggers off. Then
sails off into the sunset. Yeah,
I still think it'd be an intriguing fight.
It's a good fight for Inoue.
I think Nick Ball would have to get to him quite quick.
I give him a 5% chance at best against Inoue.
You think so?
If he, I'm saying 5% is as kind as I could get on it. I really don't give him anything.
I'm a big fan of Nick Ball as well. So
just a big fan. But yeah, no, Inoue is that level, isn't he? He's never been caused any issues at all. And
there is levels, isn't it? Even when you get to that elite level.
It was like Ade was saying with me, there's levels to world level. And
how many times have we seen like two fighters that like we think, oh my god, these two are in class, and there's just such a difference between two of them. It's just like even like I'm trying to think of examples, but like Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Like
he showed levels.
Like that was like. You just watch fights like that sometimes you just think, what? Like, how good are these as fighters? Like,
and Canelo's done it on a number of times. Like, anytime anyone comes up and you go, he's a world level fighter, he could give Canelo a fight, and he just doesn't. And then obviously we're going to see the two of them fighting each other. So one of them is going to have to show levels. We'll have to see there, but they're both at that sort of upper echelon of world level. And I think Nick Ball is sort of he's a good world champion. I don't know if I'd call him a great world champion
Yet.
I think he could get there if he beats Brandon Figueroa or a Angelo Leo or someone like that. Then we're talking.
Be a cracking build up, or him and Inoue.
Yeah, well,
Imagine them two standing face to face.
Yeah, but Inoue's just not going to have a clue what he's saying.
That would. It would be exciting to watch, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There obviously wouldn't be a word said between the two of them, but just them two looking at each other on our stage would just be like, that is a fight.
Job
to
for a
watch.
translator that day.
Absolutely.
Face off and
Filip Hrgovic, David Adeleye. People who'd on it a bit said a rubbish fight.
What?
Don't know why we're seeing it beforehand.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that.
Hey, hang on. Beforehand, I said I thought it was a good fight. You know, I'm just saying. I'll put that out there. That 8th round, that's the one that stole the show. It was a good fight, wasn't it? After all,
really good.
You talk about that 8th round, it makes an argument for round of the year in there.
it just came around early, wasn't it? It's round 9 that's normally the exciting one, isn't it?
Exactly.
But I suppose it was a 10-rounder, so it's slightly different.
We knew that David Adeleye was taking a very big step up on Saturday night, didn't we? We knew that Filip Hrgovic is a sort of fighter at the top end of the heavyweight division, you know, pushing world titles and all. I'm stirring the pot here just to get a reaction off Sam. But we knew that Filip Hrgovic has got something about him. He's going to be tough and durable against someone like Adeleye, who was... We talked about it last week. I think Adeleye would be a lot more hungrier in this fight than Hrgovic. And I think we saw that in the sort of build-up, because I think Hrgovic has got this sort of arrogance about him in a way, in a nice way, I'm saying it.
The way they need to be a great boxer.
Exactly,
yeah.
Where you can't beat me and all that, and he's not really taking it that seriously. I think he got a rude awakening against Daniel Dubois in that case. But on Saturday night, I think he was very good. I think I gave David Adeleye maybe 1 or even 2 rounds, if that. I thought he was that good. But for David Adeleye, he can take a lot from that on Saturday night. This ain't like the end, like... oh, well, he's straight back down to British level. He can still continue at that level because he showed that he can take it, and there's a lot more fights out there for him. For Filip Hrgovic, on the other hand, he's in a weird position now, ain't he? Really, you look at the fighters, the Moses Itaumas, the Joseph Parkers, the Ajit Kabayels. They're all at that point in their careers where they're just waiting now, aren't they, for that sort of next big fight, that next big moment where they can get their hands on a world title. Filip Hrgovic is in that spot where he's not there, but he's also not below world level fights, if you get what I mean. You know,
I think David Adelaye's a British level fighter who's got the X factor of a big punch.
I agree.
But you saw that firsthand against Solomon Dakins at Wembley.
Yeah, and like, if it wasn't Hrgovic on Saturday, he could have probably, with that punch he landed in the 8th round, not many other heavyweights stand up from him.
It wasn't just
those.
one punch though, wasn't it? It was loads.
Like the way he took them was incredible. Not many heavyweights take out, but I do generally just think that Adeleye is at British or European level, maybe, with a big punch.
I think we knew that as well before the fight anyway, didn't we?
I think a lot of people said that there was a big... I think the main thing was what level you saw Hrgovic at. I don't think Hrgovic is as good as you're making out.
What do you mean?
I don't see him at that level. I don't think he looked that impressive against David Adeleye.
Do you reckon in a way then he could be turning into the next sort of Derek Chisora, where he's
a gatekeeper for people who want to break a game?
He didn't beat Adeleye in the same emphatic fashion that Fabio Wardley beat him in. And Fabio Wardley, you're not saying is just outside world title contention yet.
No.
But he's knocking on the door. He's Fabio Wardley's in the same position, I think, as Filip Hrgovic, where he's beyond British level and he's just knocking on the door of world title level.
They don't compete with elite heavyweights. Fabio Wardley doesn't beat an elite heavyweight. Hrgovic doesn't beat an elite heavyweight. Yeah,
there is a chasm between.
There's a gap between them, but he's in that middle ground.
Yeah, he's in the middle ground. I agree with that. But like,
there's pointless fighting people below him now. He's going to be pushing on now.
I do get what you mean, but like, Hrgovic has never beaten an elite heavyweight.
But the only elite, if you call him an elite heavyweight, is Zhilei Zhang, and a lot of people didn't even have him winning that fight.
I think
back
the
in
only
2023.
I don't think Hrgovic beats anyone other than the people you would look at the fight and go, yeah, he wins that. Any fight where you go, oh, I don't know if Hrgovic wins that. I don't think he wins it. You don't know anyone. Would you put him in there with someone like Bacoli? Would you put him in there with someone like? Would you put him there with someone like Wardley and be like, yeah, he beats Wardley? That would be a
hell of a fight, mind.
The only reason I think he gives Bacoli a bit of a test is because he can take a shot, and Bacoli might be fucking knackered by the time.
300 pounds, yeah.
By the time the fight comes towards the last few rounds.
He does, yeah, he's on the salads.
So I think Hrgovic could maybe nick on the decision just by outworking him.
But that doesn't make him a.
No, it doesn't make him.
Yeah, he's in a difficult position, but I just think.
He's going to be that sort of Derek Chisora, ain't he? He's that gatekeeper where, he fights these people that are pushing up. Fabio Wardley's in it.
I think that'd be a good fight, actually.
Perfect fight for him.
I wouldn't mind watching that.
Yeah,
even though I would love to see Fabio Wardley take on Justice Huni again, mind, after what happened in Ipswich.
I don't know.
Huni beats him second time round.
Do you think?
Yeah.
He should have beaten
him anyway.
I know,
he won every round.
But then, I thought Fraser Clark beat Fabio Wardley in that first fight, and then he came back and made it emphatic in the second. He's on an upwards trajectory. Fabio Wardley.
I don't think Justice Huni switches off. I
don't think he switches off. No, it'd be interesting to see. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the Ray Ford fight because he beat Abraham Nova. We expected him to. It wasn't the Kakachi fight.
I want to see him and Kakachi.
That's a great fight, and I genuinely think
Kakachi fight was meant to be though. Saturday,
I genuinely think Kakachi does the business against him. I think he really does. I think he's too much pressure. I think it'd
be a very good fight.
But it would be, like you say, it'd be a really good fight. And then on to the sort of prospect, so to speak. Tsutsumi dispatched Kai Sashvak, looked very, very good in doing so. Another Japanese fighter that's looking serious.
Yeah, and fair play to him. I think Turki Alashik is very high on him. Invested in a lot of money into him. Is he one of the
ambassadors? Or
I think for the ring or something.
Yeah, he is a ring ambassador, yeah.
I could be wrong, but didn't he make his professional debut on the Times Square
Different
card?
fighter.
Oh, okay.
This guy's 8-0 now, so you're thinking of a different guy.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy. I know who you're on about, but I can't remember his name.
But even against a Kashafak, mind, you were saying that it's going the distance and all.
As did you?
I went knockout. I did.
You lied then.
I didn't
lie to me.
We haven't even talked about it, man. I won the predictions last week. So
something's gone wrong.
I had 25.
What, you had everyone right?
Yeah, everyone right.
Fair play.
I know glove, apparently. Some people say I don't, and I probably agree with them as well.
Yeah, it's a broken clock's right twice a day. Exactly. It's one of them ones.
What about Mohammed Al-Akil, mind? Oh.
Yeah, good finish. The guy he was fighting was not great, but
I think Ben would have done a better job, mine.
I'm excited to see what he's about more than anything. I like stories are interesting in boxing, aren't they? And he's got a bit of a story with the way they're building him up. He's from Riyadh. He's fighting in Riyadh. Training with Joe Gallagher. He went to a private boarding school in Scotland. He's not a man you would have placed in a boxing ring. But
I don't think he's training with Gallagher anymore, mind.
Yeah, he was. I don't know.
I think he might be Buddy McGurk and all them now over in the States.
Well, there you go.
Because look at his next fight, mind. How many people have we seen in their sort of sixth fight fighting on that big card of Canelo and Crawford? 10-rounder as well. Yeah, it's good to see. And it's good to see that, people talk about the Saudis' investment in the sport and all. It's either good for it or it's bad for it. To see their sort of prospects coming through now as well, it's showing that they're going to be sticking around as well, I think. And they've obviously got a place in mind where they want to go. Oh,
I don't know. I want to see him chucked in and tested at some point. You can't just constantly go, oh, he's a Saudi Arabian fighter, let's chuck him in against some journeyman to kick off the card constantly. He can't go through an old career.
I think he gets to a position though. I think, listen, he's still early in his career, mind. He's only 5-0.
Yeah.
Get to 10-0 maybe, and then start rolling the dice.
And he didn't have the same amateur pedigree or anything. The only reason I sort of turned my nose up a little bit is I don't think what Mo Al-Akil's doing has any bearing on how interested the Saudi Arabian
we've seen the atmosphere
Riyadh season are on. I think the way that Ring Magazine is being used and TKO, I think we'll probably see less and less of the Riyadh season cards and probably more Ring Magazine and Dana White cards, and there will be a sort of
But I don't know,
natural
man. We got that
progression.
massive card on November 22nd. That's a real season card.
Yeah, we do. But I think there will be a sort of gradual sort of swap of those things. But maybe I'm wrong.
There's just the only thing I don't like when they're out there is that there's no interest from like the local the fan base they're trying to get, because the atmospheres are terrible.
I think if that
for such big fights,
I think if that was in the O2 or somewhere, that would have been a sellout. Atmosphere would have been incredible.
Yeah. You'd easily sell 25 for that.
And like, I know some people have made the argument of like it'll take time to build that sort of fan base up, but you've seen other companies go to Saudi Arabia and build a fan base or have a fan base there instantly.
WWE.
Like you look at WWE, the atmosphere they have at the Saudi shows.
But the WWE has a loyal audience and a history of how many years?
Yeah.
Like those guys, that exact thing as it is product has been around for so long, has such a build up. Whereas boxing, because it goes through boxers and promotional companies, and there's not the same people involved. It is slightly different.
It's like any sport, man. It takes time to build.
But equally, I think we would be. We cannot really have a bad word to say about it, because they've put on shows that have made us as boxing fans unbelievably happy, us as podcast and content creators unbelievably fortunate, because there's more eyes on the sport now than there were, and then just as fighters they've made many a fight that they wouldn't have had or seen, and there's fighters that have benefited hugely from it. I've got a lot of time for it, but I don't necessarily know how much more we're going to see of it. I don't think it'll be I don't think this will be a permanent fixture. I don't necessarily think it'll be a flash in the pan, but I don't think we'll always have Turkey Al Sheikh bankrolling boxing forever. And I think that's why I've always been of the mind of just enjoy it while we can. Do you know what I mean?
It's the worry though of what happens to boxing if they pull out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you'd hope that
just go back to what it was like.
You'd hope that Eddie and Frank and friends are investing the money they're making now in bulletproofing it for the future, or rather than they say, fix the roof while the sun's shining, all of that stuff. So while they've got it good now, then they build the foundation, the framework for the future. But we'll have to wait and see. We've got some decent domestic fights coming up next weekend as well. We're back on the grind again. We had quite a few weeks, but I think
2 podcasts a week this week.
We're rolling
double
into
pay. Let's go.
Double pay. Yeah, is that double zero?
Yeah.
0 times 2 is still 0. So we love to see it. Anything else to touch upon?
No, I don't think. Well, not from that Riyadh card. Obviously, we were at a decent fight card in Neath. I keep on trying to think it was Swansea, but Neath.
Neath
Sports Centre. Great night. Great performance.
Sounds
by
like
the
Mike
Gladiator.
Tyson saying Nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, had to get that out there.
Do you feel better after saying that?
I do, yeah.
Okay, that's good. But no, great performance by the Gladiator, Willie Gilhaney, against Kabayel Crocker. Great card, Gavin Gwynn. There's a lot of interest around him taking that fight. Obviously, there's a lot of talk of him fighting Cameron Vong in a rematch, which
it's happening, maybe.
It's happening, but we don't know when. But we know it's happening.
And obviously, it only happens if one gets through his next fight. If he doesn't, then it's a whole different conversation.
I just hope what people they see that the thing I hope that people don't overlook is that Gavin Gwynn went the distance. His opponent was overweight and all that. His opponent didn't really engage in the fight, really. Gavin Gwynn was trying his hardest to get him out of there, it looked like, but it was an awfully warm evening there.
Not to mention he threw up straight after. Literally, he wasn't in a good way.
The guy
same day weigh-ins.
Yeah, exactly. That he hasn't done a same day weigh-in in yonks, which is mental. But it was a decent card by Black Flash there. And we got a double Welsh champion now in Wales, which is good to see.
We do indeed, yeah.
Willie.
Hopefully he gets the shot of the British title he wants at some point.
I think he might at some point.
Enzo can...
Do you reckon Celtic British eliminator British title?
British title eliminator is a possibility.
He's past Welsh level now.
Who is the British super welterweight champ? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Is it Louis Green, is it? I can't remember.
Imagine that. Both of them are good talkers as well, Mike.
I'm trying to have a look. Divisions. Let me be quick. Oh, it might be Gilly. Was those two supposed to fight and then...
Yeah, they were meant to fight, weren't they?
Let's have a look. Sorry, guys. It's very unprofessional. We try not to... we normally come with research, but we haven't.
Sure Sam Gilly. Or has he got a Commonwealth?
Oh, I went schedule. What a rookie error.
What are you doing?
What a rookie error. This is not the money they pay for. Well, they don't pay for it, so...
if they're listening to this point, I salute you.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever you're doing right now, stick with us while we check.
It's taking you an awful long time, mate.
What are we looking at?
Like, you looking?
Why don't you look on the British Boxing Board of Control
Sam
website?
Gilly is Commonwealth. He was the English.
Just look on the British Boxing Board of Control website.
Do what I like, mate.
What weight class are we looking at?
Super welter.
Up one more.
Sam Eggington.
I don't even know. what
Sam
it is.
Egginson, no
It might
way.
be. It might be.
I think
It
it's
might be vacant. Oh, wouldn't mind that.
So he could do that.
Versus Sam Gilly. Be a good fight. Be a good
Gilly
fight. We'll have
versus
to wait
Willie.
and see. Gilly versus Willie. I like it. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for another episode of the Puncher's Chance podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, you can follow us on social medias, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff for all the content. Or if you prefer, we've got the audio episodes versions of these podcasts on Spotify if you don't like to see our beautiful faces. Otherwise, subscribe on YouTube if you're enjoying the video, and we'll catch you all later in the week.
Puncher's Chance. Puncher's Chance podcast.